Representative Kelley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for coming in again. I know that when you were answering, I think Rep. Grandel's question, you were talking about how big this lie is, and I was just wondering if you could clarify a little bit specifically what you mean by that.
Through the Vice Chair, thank you for your question. As represented by the numbers I just presented, the medical pandemic is over. And one reason I've never had much of a taste for politics is because I feel like there's a lot of corruption in it. So now I feel that this is a political pandemic. And along with that comes misrepresentation of numbers, maybe sometimes for funding, and that's big. And that's what I'm referring to.
Nice fault, Madam Chair. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You know, I think part of my frustration in this committee, you know, we deal with a lot of really important issues coming through this committee, and it's good to hear from people about how what we're doing impacts them and their families, their communities. So I guess a couple things. One, you know, we've heard from some folks that, you know, the numbers aren't matching up to the substance, and, you know, trying to determine, because it seems like there are certain groups of people that say, hey, the numbers aren't correct, but then there are other groups of folks who say, you know, this data is correct, this is what the science says. You know, and ever since we started out, you know, on this, I think that COVID has been politicized in a way that is not beneficial to the health or well-being of any of us, because, you know, just tack that onto the list now of things that nobody can talk about without wanting to get in a fight. And I think it's frustrating because you've got folks who really want to understand what's going on and understand the science and understand the data, but there's so much misinformation from so many sources that, you know, folks who are trying to do right, trying to keep themselves healthy and well, trying to listen to experts, are really frustrated. I mean, we have devolved to a place where we're fighting over what facts are. And, you know, it's frustrating to me that we've even made it to this point. But I sometimes wonder, you know, do we try to Monday morning quarterback and try to find another pathway because, you know, we don't necessarily agree with folks. So it may be correct, but we might not agree that it's the right pathway, or is it actually substantively incorrect? And I think that some of the challenge is that, you know, right now we're at a point where people are like, you know, when's the state going to open? I mean, it is. You know, why are these policies, they are the way they are? You know, it's not because of an order, it's because a business, you know, is making a rule, which is its prerogative to do, for better or for worse. And so I guess my question is just, you know, again, and I've said this, I think, not to you, but to other witnesses, like, if folks have evidence that things are being fudged or facts aren't facts, then I would hope that they would share that, you know, because I think that people said, hey, give us a metric for when we can do X, Y, or Z. And then they did, and then it's like, well, that's not the metric that I wanted. Or, you know, hey, we want things to open. Well, things are open, but maybe not in the way that I want. And so I guess I would just like for your perspective on, you know, if we've got some folks in the medical community saying, hey, this is a done deal, and others saying, you know, it's not. We've got guidance coming down from the CDC, consistent with the Ohio Department of Health, but then people coming in this committee saying, you know, that up is down and flat is round. So I'd just like your perspective on that.
Through the Vice Chair, thank you for your question. I think that's my point as well. The only experts that have been allowed to contribute to this are hand-chosen and have something to gain in most instances. I'm not here because I want to be here today. There are 1,000 other things I'd rather do, and this is completely out of my comfort zone. I'm here because there are a lot of doctors who have not had a voice in this. And yes, it's very confusing. I think intentionally so, and the media propagates that, that's all the more reason that we need to come to the table together and make these decisions together, instead of with a few select hand-picked experts that have a singular purpose. I am bringing new numbers, and I appreciate that a metric was set, but my point is that the metric is unattainable. It's sort of like like I said, an end zone that you can never reach. And there are those that will testify behind me who have even more numbers, so I'm trying not to be redundant, but we're pointing out some things that have not been allowed to come to light that need to be also considered and should affect policymaking. Thank you.